This is the anthem. Here's what you came for. This is the moment magic was made for. Come on, let's light up the sky now. You feel the magic happening right now.
Hello there. Welcome back to Fan Fatales.
Take a ride with us on the Hogwarts Express.
Walk down Main Street with our best super pals.
And defy gravity as we talk about all things fandom.
Hello, and welcome back to Fan Fatales, a member of the Real Fans Podcast Network. I'm Emma.
And I'm Gaby, and happy Valentine's Day!
Woo-hoo!
So for our very special early Tuesday episode, hi everybody, it's Tuesday.
Hi everyone.
This is really weird.
Happy Tuesday, yeah it is.
Like, Tuesday, hey. For this very special episode, we're going to be talking about the, epitome of Disney romance, in my opinion, which is The Lady and the Tramp!
Woo! Yeah, I agree.
So we're going to talk about both the original animated feature from 1955 as well as the, I don't feel like live action is the right term for it because it is like photorealistic animation. So that one, the new one from 2019.
Yeah.
I like it, but I have my qualms.
I agree.
So anyway. We're going to start with the original, which is one of my, absolute favorite Disney movies.
Same.
I love this movie.
It while I was, doing homework yesterday. Just, comfort.
Yeah.
Comfort.
Absolutely. I love this movie so much. It just,
yeah.
It's, such warm feelings. And, baby lady, she's so
cute.
She's
so cute. She's way too
cute. The little puppy, so cute.
Yeah. So, shall we get into, the, who directed everything for the 1955 one?
I was going to say 90s.
I don't know what I was about to say.
Yeah, we're going to go ahead and get into the original.
Yeah. So, it was directed by Clyde Jernaimi. Sure. Wilfred Jackson and Hamilton Luske. It was released on June 22nd of 1955. Why are you laughing at me?
Because all I can think of is this joke that the Disorder guys make about Wilfred Jackson. They know. Disorder listeners out there, you know.
Yeah.
You know the joke.
Yeah. I was listening to the Peter Pan one earlier. The day we're recording
they
this
talk
is
about it.
The anniversary of Peter Pan, the 70th.
Yep.
So this was the 15th Disney animated feature film, as many Disorder fans know, obviously. Easy facts. The film was based on the 1945 Cosmopolitan magazine story of Happy Dan, the Cynical Dog, by Ward Green.
I did not know that.
I found that out on IMDb.
Wow.
So
fun fact.
Yeah.
So the cast includes Barbara Luddy as Lady, Larry Roberts as the Tramp, Bill Thompson as Jacques, Bill Bochum as Trusty, Verna Felton as Aunt Sarah, George Giveau as Tony, Lee Miller as Jim Deere and the Dog Catcher, and Peggy Lee as Darling, the Siamese Cats, and Peg.
Yeah, so you go, girl.
Yeah, go Peggy Lee.
Yeah. And Bill Thompson is one of those Disney names around this time. He was known for the Aristocats, for Uncle Waldo, Sleeping Beauty. He was King Herbert, all sorts of stuff like that.
Yeah,
he was there.
Yep. And same with Verna Felton and Peggy Lee.
Yes.
They were both in a lot of stuff as well.
a lot of these people were just like kind of used and used and used. Mm-hmm. Another big one for Bill Thompson was Mr. Smee. Oh. So another Peter Pan fact. So the budget of the film was about $4 million. And in its initial release, the film took in a higher figure than any other Disney animated feature since Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, earning an estimated $6.5 million in distributor rentals. And when it was re-released in 1962, it grossed roughly between $6 million and $7 million. During its 1971 re-release, the film grossed about $10 million, and when it was re-released again in 1980, it grossed $27 million, and then during its fourth re-release, in 1986, it garnered $31.1 million.
So, as far as inflation goes, it stayed pretty consistent, I would say. Like, yeah. Maybe not as much as, like, the original release, but, like, if you think about it, okay, between 1955 and 1962, it probably, like, would have evened out, right? 6 and 7 million. It's around the same, you know? Yeah. 1971, okay, 10 million. Okay, that's, like, accounting for how the money's changed, right?
Yeah.
So, all that to say, people loved it just as much then in the 70s and 60s and 80s when it released,
and I mean, they
just as
still
much.
Love it now. There's a restaurant that is literally called Tony's at Magic Kingdom.
Oh well, yeah. You can't not have Tony's.
Exactly, and like it's still a huge influence in the parks today and everything like that.
Oh yeah.
Even if they don't have obviously characters for them.
Oh, I mean, could you imagine if they actually had the dogs walking around?
That'd be cute. You see. Why was I thinking
Sweetheart's
of like a Pluto-style like fursuit for them? That's what it would end up being is the problem.
Yeah, because of like liability and whatever. But I would love those dog actors walking around on Sweetheart's Night, or like in like, you know, not like in a meet and greet spot, but like at the distance, you know, where you can like just walk by and wave.
Yeah.
More for like their safety and like guest safety, but like.
Yeah.
I think that'd
know
be
that
cool.
They have had like Tony and his like buddy whatever come out and sing This Is the Night.
Bella Notte?
Yeah, Bella Notte.
Okay.
Before. Also, when I was on the Lady and the Tramp Wikipedia, it looks like that Peggy Lee not only voiced the 4 characters she did, but co-wrote 6 songs for the film.
That's true. She co-wrote the Star Sweepers song, the song Lady sings about what's a baby. That song's weird.
Yeah.
He's a Tramp. That like Christmassy song at the beginning, and then like one other one. I can't remember what the other one is.
I'm trying to
probably Bella Notte.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Those are like the only songs in the film.
Yeah. Yeah, congratulations, Peggy.
Mm-hmm. An icon.
Icon.
Mm-hmm. So.
Should we do the fact? Are we gonna go into talking about the 1951 a little bit more, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was just watching it, and you know, it has that little thing at the beginning, as like all old Disney movies who are like slightly racist do. And, you know, this one's a little bit more than slightly racist. This one's, like,
I was like, what's going on? And you can't pause it or anything to, like, fast forward or anything.
No, you can't, like, be like, okay, after you read it. No, it has to take the full 10 seconds. That, like, okay, I get it. I know what I'm signing myself up for.
Yeah.
You're good. You know? So, like, I wish there was a skip button for that, because I'm like, I have read it a billion times. I kind of agree. I know. We're all like, we know.
Yeah.
It was the 50s. It's fine.
It was the 50s, yeah.
You know, we know, we don't, like, I don't blame them. It's the 50s.
No.
Like, I'm not like, oh, you need to delete it all now. No. When they remade it, they took it out, which is like.
And they made a new song.
Yeah, which is arguably 10 times better.
I really like the new song. I was wondering
the
what
new
your
song was
opinion
so
was.
good.
I forget what it's called.
Okay, so I don't know. Maybe we should talk about the new ones. That way we could just like freely talk about both.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of what I thought we were going to do.
That's a smart idea. You're much smarter than I am.
But so the 2019 Lady and the Tramp film was directed by Charlie Bean. It was released on November 12th of 2019 on Disney Plus, making it the first Disney remake to not be released theatrically, but instead only on a streaming service. And this was actually the day that Disney Plus came out in 2019. So it was like one of the first things you could watch on Disney Plus altogether. That was new, rather.
Yes.
It was dedicated to storyboard artist Chris Riccardi, who died on May 2nd of 2019. From what I could find, he worked on the Lady and the Tramp 2019 one and a bunch of other Disney films. So yeah,
very sweet.
Yeah.
So the cast includes Tessa Thompson as the voice of Lady, who honestly I literally had no idea that was her. I was
honestly, a lot of these people, I'm like, oh really?
I know.
Like the voice of Bull. I was like, really?
Right? So Tessa Thompson was the voice of Lady. Justin Theroux was the voice of the Tramp. Sam Elliott was the voice of Trusty. Ashley Jensen was the voice of Jacques or Jacqueline.
Yes.
Janella Monáe was the voice of Peg, which I was like, what?
Yeah. This cast is amazing for it to be like a not theatrically released remake.
Right. And then we have Benedict Wong as the voice of Bull. Mm-hmm. And then Nate, Rocket Wonder, and Roman Gianarthur as the voices of Devin and Rex, who I believe are the cats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's, I think that they named them and that's their names.
But they, like, never mention their names.
Yeah.
And then Thomas Mann played Jim Deere. Kiersey Clemens played Darling. Yvette Nicole Brown played Aunt Sarah. And F. Murray Abraham played Tony. And Arturo Castro played Joe.
Yes.
Wait, who played the dog catcher?
I couldn't find anything about the dog catcher. I can check again.
His name was like Everett or something. In the credits. They like credited him as Everett. And I was like, why? They don't even say his first name.
That's probably why I didn't put him on here. I was like, who is this?
Same, yeah.
Adrian Martinez.
There you go. Was I right? Was it Everett? Elliot. Close.
Yeah, close enough.
Yes.
But
that's who
this
that was.
Cast was great.
Yeah, very good cast. I honestly was convinced that Darling was Ariana DeBose.
Honestly, I was the first time I watched it, and I looked it up.
They look so similar.
Yeah. I'm trying to see what else she was in, so I could be like, oh, okay.
Like, especially when you think about, like, Ariana DeBose in, like, The Prom, not necessarily, like, Hamilton, but, like, in The Prom with, like, that hairstyle, and, like, I was like, oh, shoot, look at her, and then she sang, and she sounded just like her, too.
Yeah, it was kind of creepy.
I was like, this is nuts.
She honestly hasn't been in much. So one thing I always think about with, because Lady calls Jim and Darling, like, Jim Deere and Darling, the fact that, like, that's just probably their, like, pet names for each other.
Oh, it absolutely is.
She just has picked it up, and it's just the cutest thing.
It is. It's so cute.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like it a lot.
There is a lot of... So, the movies are essentially the same, but there are very many differences between the two.
Yes, but they're not, like...
stark.
No. I think like one of the bigger ones is the fact that Aunt Sarah isn't watching the baby in the 2019 one, because she is in the 1955 one.
Yeah. Also, the baby's a girl in the new one and a boy in the old one.
Yes.
Also, Lady doesn't have that like iconic bow at the very beginning of the new one.
I know.
And it like irked me just a little bit. I was like, but the
yeah.
Another big thing that I noticed, like, between watching the two is, like, the 1955 one, you very rarely see, like, above the people's, like, knees or waist. Yeah. Like,
and
you never
see
really see their face.
A lot in this.
Yeah, in the new one, like, you see them a lot. Like, they actually have, like, a plot and, like, a storyline. Yeah. And they're actually characters.
Yeah.
Versus, like, just, like, methods to get to the main story.
Yeah.
So, I like that.
I do, too. That was we've actually covered a couple of the, differences I have in our notes. But yeah, that quote at the beginning of the 1955 one, I put it in here because I think it's adorable, and obviously
the quote's so good.
And obviously they didn't use it in the live action one, which is like the first difference, I guess we'll say. And the quote is, "In the whole history of the world, there is but one thing that money cannot buy, to wit the wag of a dog's tail." And it's just adorable, and I love it so much.
It is really cute. I was reading it, I was like, oh.
Yeah, same. And then Gaby has already mentioned the next two that I have on here, which is her Lady not having her giant bow when she's gifted to Darling at the beginning of the film. And then the fact that we see the faces of Jim Deere and Darling throughout the entire film.
Yeah. Also, like, Lady's diet in the first film is very questionable.
Yeah, it's a donut and coffee.
I know. I was like, you probably shouldn't be giving that to your dog.
No.
But I think the, like, most glaring difference between the two is that Jock is a woman in the new film.
And I like that they made that difference, but I want to know why they chose to do that.
I don't know. Because I kind of love the relationship in the original that Lady has with Jock and Trusty, and it's like that, like, brotherly relationship, like, that she has with them.
Yeah.
And it feels a little bit different with Jock being a girl. I don't know. It just doesn't, like, hit the same way.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
You know? But, like, I really like it, though. Like, I don't dislike it.
And I like that it isn't, like, just, like, burying his bones, like, in the same spot and, like, actually, like, gives him his own, like, little thing where it's all the portraits.
But I love the bones! He goes to the thing, and then he goes, okay, 4 steps over, and then to the left, and then right where he, like, dug up his spot, and then, I love that. I love that one.
Yeah.
And then she shows up, and he, like, sits on them. Because he doesn't want her to see.
I like it a lot. So I do like their relationship with Lady and the new one. I mean,
yeah.
Oh, what's his name? The bigger dog. Trusty. I love how he's like grandpa dog in both of them. He's just like grandpa that knows everything.
I know. He's like, I love the, I don't know if I've told you about reliable. Yeah, you have many times.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
And I feel like Jock's relationship is more of like an aunt in this.
Yeah, you're right. Versus like the brotherly relationship that we see with them in the original.
Yeah, like it's not even like a sister, it's like aunt.
Yeah. Also, they cut the line, one of my favorite lines in the original, where Lady's like, I don't know what's going on, all this stuff's happening, and Jacques goes, that's because she's expecting a wee bairn. That's like my favorite line in the whole thing. And then she's like, what the heck? And Trusty's all, a baby. And she's like, what is a baby?
And then has the weirdest song about what is a baby.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't like this song.
I don't like the song either. I think the song is really freaking weird. But I like the lines and I like that sequence, and it's just different in the new one, which is fine. But like, she knows that Darling is gonna have a baby, which is like not the same.
Yeah. I also kind of like how the baby showers are kind of still the same.
Yeah. I do like that. Oh, man. So another thing about Jacques that totally I loved was when, you know, at the end they're running towards the, dog catcher's cart. Yeah. So I loved in the new one, they're all running and Jacques goes, I can't with me wee legs. And I was like, oh, I felt that. I related really hard to Jacques in that moment. I was like, me too, man, me too.
And I like that Jacques and his owner adopt the two puppies.
I know. And they're all anti-Jacques.
Yeah. The two puppies that actually are the ones that Tramp gives the sandwich to at the beginning of the film.
Yes. And then we also see in the pound.
Yeah, and we also see in the pound.
Yes. Also, their names, if you notice, their names are Dodge and Ollie.
I didn't notice that!
In the credits, I was looking at it and I was like, oh my gosh, their names are Dodge and Ollie. That's too cute. So maybe that was like them being like, ooh, we're going to do Oliver and Company next.
Maybe.
Or sometime. That'd be cool. I would like to see that.
Yeah. Or just Oliver
Why
twist.
should I worry?
I love Oliver.
Yeah. I would love to see them do a photorealistic
Why should
animation.
I worry?
I love that song.
This and Oliver and Company were like two Disney films that the thrift store my mom and I would always go to as a kid would always have on their like little TV for kids to sit down while the parents were shopping.
Because they're the best ones.
Yeah, but it was always these two, like, because, you know, they're both good for different genders and it's not like a princess film.
Yeah, they're good for everybody.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing. Everybody likes Lady and the Tramp.
It was like in the like little kids area and it was just like always on TV. So I always remember like sitting down at that thrift store and watching like Oliver and Company, but always when I would come, it would always start at Why Should I Worry? So I feel like half the times I saw the movie, I saw like Why Should I Worry to like Oliver like kind of joining the group and then like would leave because you know we were shopping.
Yeah. That's like the best part of the movie too.
Yeah. And like Lady and the Tramp, it was always like this opening sequence. I like never was there when they were finishing it or anything like that.
Interesting.
It might have been the time my mom and I were coming.
Maybe. So speaking of the two puppies, in the live action film, Tramp gives the puppies a sandwich on the street, but in the original, he like walks across them in the window for sale at like a pet store.
Yeah.
Which is worse?
I don't know.
See, that's the thing. And like
because
Tramp
it's almost like
one,
that Aladdin moment from the like original 90s where he gives the kid like the bread.
Yeah. Exactly. And it's like in the new one, like he says, let me guess, left in a box that said for sale or something like that.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah. And then they're like, please, mister. And then they like screw him over. I do kind of like that they're like kind of savvy, that they're just like using him just a little. They're not
that
like
is
helpless.
totally Dodger, though.
It's Dodger and Oliver. It's 100% Dodger and Oliver.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a cute little Easter egg I found. I was like, oh my god. So anyway.
Another thing is, and this is going back to Darling and Jim Deere and like how they are with Lady and everything, especially while she's expecting. In the animated film, Darling slaps Lady and gets frustrated with her when she steals like the ball of yarn from her when she's crocheting the like, I'm assuming baby blanket for her baby.
I thought it was socks.
Or maybe socks. I don't remember what it was.
Yeah, I think it's socks.
Okay. But still, you know what I mean? Like.
Yeah.
But this never happens in the remake. Instead, Darling calls Lady a bad dog when she jumps on the couch. And Aunt Sarah at the baby shower. Yes.
Also, in the remake, Aunt Sarah is Darling's aunt versus Jim's aunt.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah.
I wonder why they chose that.
Probably for casting. They were probably like, "Oh, we want her to play it, so." Yeah. I feel like whose aunt it is like inconsequential. I don't think it matters.
True.
I think either way is fine. It doesn't.
Yeah. I actually kind of like that it's her aunt better. Especially with her, I don't know, like, her doting around with the baby and, like, thinking, like, oh, I get to be the babysitter because I'm on the mom's side.
That makes sense.
Because she probably was the same one that babysat the mom.
That makes sense.
More so than it being, like...
his aunt, yeah.
Yeah. You know what I mean, though? Especially, like, I don't know.
But also, Aunt Sarah in the new one never actually gets to babysit the baby. She's just house sitting.
Yeah.
I do like though when Jim goes, "Trust me, if we would have bugged anybody else with this, we would have." Like,
I love and I mean this we'll get into a little bit later, but I love how they're not fond of her at all and don't like the idea of leaving her.
Right.
Like the child with her.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, which I bet is why they don't want to leave their kid with her.
Yeah. But in the original, she's in good standing with the family, and they're, like, begging her to watch the kid.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then I also noticed in the original, they, like, just get the baby down to sleep, and then Aunt Sarah gets there and goes and wakes up the baby.
Yeah.
And then the baby starts crying, and she's like, "Oh, it's the dog's fault." I'm all, no, they just put the baby down. Yeah.
I love Jim Deere and both of them, but especially in the original when he's like, it's a boy on the phone, and then goes up to the doctor and it's like, "It's a boy," and he's like, "Yeah, I know." Closes the door.
I do like that. And then he runs upstairs and leaves Aunt Sarah on the phone, and she's all, "Operator, we got disconnected." And the operator's like, "What?"
Yeah.
And he's like running around. "What color are his eyes? Oh, I forgot to look."
What color are his eyes?
So, yeah, that one's a good one.
But yeah.
In the new one, Tramp is the one who tells Lady about the baby, and, like, we get to kind of, like, see his story about how, like, he once belonged to a family, and
they,
what
like,
happened.
Left him on the street, like, or kicked him out.
Yeah, and just left him in an alley?
Yeah, after the baby came.
I know, I, like, teared up. I was very sad.
Yeah, I kind of like that we get, like, a backstory for him.
Yeah, because, like, in the original, it's just Jock and Trusty who are like, "It's the baby," right? Like I was talking about earlier.
And he's like, "Oh, they're trouble. They pull your hair. They pull your tail. Like, all that stuff."
Yeah. And they scratch you and blah, blah, blah. And then Jock and Trusty are all, "But they're soft and they smell nice." Yeah. And you get all of the stuff they drop. And it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, but I really like that they do
the backstory.
The backstory for him.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's something we're missing with the original.
Oh, I 100% agree.
Where, like, we don't really understand, like, where he came from, why he's more cynical about all this stuff, especially about the baby.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's kind of left for you to assume that this happened.
Yeah. And speaking of the baby, like we already mentioned, it's a boy in the original. And it's a little girl, and her name is Lulu. It's so cute.
Yeah. Which Lulu is
cute.
in the musical Waitress. Isn't that the kid's name at the end of the show?
I don't know.
Oh. I think it is.
No
I think it's called Blue's Pies Waitress. It is!
Good one.
What?
That's a good one.
Thank you.
But yeah, and I think she's very cute.
I do too. And then, I mean, we've kind of already talked about it, but...
We did.
And Sarah isn't babysitting the newborn in the new film. Instead, they take Lulu with them to visit Jim's sister.
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, we've already talked about how they are not too fond of her.
No, not in the slightest.
Yeah.
Also, that vase that she gifted them, I was like, for a baby shower?
Yeah.
First of all, that is so inappropriate for a baby shower. Second of all, it's ugly as hell.
Yeah, I was kind of happy that I got destroyed.
Oh, me too. I was like, smash the vase. Smash the vase.
But of course, it gets blamed on Lady.
Of course. You know, in the updated Siamese cat song.
Yeah.
But it's totally different, which I like a lot more.
Which the song is called What a Shame.
Yes.
But I really like the song.
Yeah, I thought it was good. I thought it
Because
got
I was
the
a little
point across.
uncomfy, like modern day watching Lady and the Tramp, listening to the Siamese cat song last night. I was like,
Oh, totally. And they definitely like Asian coded the cats and like made the like eyes really tiny and like the faces all smushed. And I was like, oh, that's really weird. Like,
especially because
like,
what, Peggy Lee, we said it, voiced them,
yeah,
who is a white woman.
yeah. I don't know. It was just like, but you know, you have to remember it was the time. You know, you have to think about like, that's what the time was. I mean, it's not appropriate for nowadays.
No.
It probably wasn't. I don't even think it was appropriate for then, but it was accepted.
Yeah.
And like, we've learned and grown as a society and know
yeah,
that
like that song had
not
to change for them to make this movie.
Yeah.
And also,
they
they're
did
not Siamese
very
cats
well.
in the
No,
movie.
they're not. No, they're
like
not. They're
gray
Bengal cats.
with like black stripe. They're what cats?
I think they're Bengal cats.
Okay.
Let me double check.
But yeah, like, they don't have the fish for the cats to pester or anything. They're kind of just, like, making a mess and blaming it on Lady.
Yeah.
It's, like, the whole point of their song. It's not.
And they're like, oh, what a shame. Knock the vase off of the thing. Like, I thought that was so good.
Yeah, I really liked this scene compared to the original.
Oh, agreed.
It was so cute.
Hold on, I'm looking it up. Devin Rex cats.
Is that why their names are Devin and Rex?
Yes.
That's cute.
Oh, they're really cute.
Oh.
Oh, but everybody says you should not get one. Why?
Are they evil?
I don't know. Probably. They're just gonna knock your shit off of your mantle.
And say, what a shame to the poor dog that's at your house.
Yep. And yeah, they're gonna blame everything on your dog.
Yep.
Also, they cut out the bit with the fish.
Yeah, I already mentioned that.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, while you were looking up what kind of cats
Sorry.
they were. No problem. And then it's the vase.
Yes.
The ugly
Onto
vase.
the floor.
On the
rather
floor.
than the piano.
Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, I think there's two parts in this film that I was like, I don't know how that goes, how that's gonna fly. The first one was the cats, where I was like, ooh, that's a little yikes. That's a real yikes. But we all knew that. And then Tony came on screen, and I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
He's like the most stereotypical, just like, oh, mamma mia, that's a spicy meatball Italian guy. Like,
oh, Tony.
I was like, oh man. And like the way he talks, even, he's all, cara mia, let me get you a bone.
Yeah.
And you're like, I don't think they actually ever, well, okay. And he's got the mustache and I don't know. I was just like, wow, this is just as bad.
Yeah. But I feel like
Yeah.
more people had more problems with the Siamese.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no. The Siamese cats was definitely worse. But, like,
Yeah.
I don't know. The Tony thing, I was just like, oh, man. And then in the new one, he is, like, Latino.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Oh, Tony. Silly casting.
Yeah.
And then the next
I
thing.
liked it, though.
Yeah.
I kind of liked it, though.
Yeah. The next thing, obviously, is the muzzle that
Yes.
they put on Lady. And in the original, he's like, oh, okay, let's do it. But in the new one, he's like, you sure? Like, she doesn't seem like a bad dog.
Yeah, like, that's not what she needs. Just give her a toy. And she's like, you want to reward this behavior? And I was like, yes, we do.
Yeah. Come on,
but yeah,
Diva.
I like that he's like apprehensive to be like,
Yeah.
No.
And also, in the new one, she gets lost without her collar. Like, he removes it so he could put on the muzzle.
Yep.
And she runs out of the pet store before it could be put back on her.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I also like that in the new one, like, when Lady first goes out onto the street and, like, you know, gets herself in the alley, that, like, he isn't the one who just, like, fights for her. He, like, he's, like, helping her out. He's like, oh, she's crazy. She has rabies.
Yeah, instead
like,
of what the first one is, where she's chased by, like, a group of dogs and he fights them off.
Yeah. I do like that he's like, yeah, she has rabies. Grab the beef. Grab the meat. Grab the meat.
Yeah. And then, of course, the next thing is the zoo in the original.
Yeah. Yeah. They don't go to the zoo. They go to a statue in the new one.
Yeah. But, so at the zoo, they find a beaver who, like, helps them take it off.
Yeah.
And in the new one, it's a beaver statue.
Yeah. I don't know. I like the original one just a little better on that front. I think I like that they know each other and the beaver's like, I will help you. I like that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then another thing is, like, in this film, they take the ferry boat and, like, see the city and, like, go around and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Whereas in the original, they just kind of, like, run through a hen house and, like, walk around and you're like, okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Also, in the new film, he doesn't refer to himself as the Tramp. It's Peg who refers to him as the Tramp.
Yeah.
And that's what Lady calls him. And, like, in the new one, he's like, oh, yeah, I don't have a name. I go by Butch, Spot,
Pooch,
Bud, whatever.
Buddy, Scram.
Yeah.
And he says, who needs a name? I'm free to be whoever I want to be.
Yeah.
So we kind of talked about his backstory already, which is another big change.
Yeah. So yeah. And then this is the part that bugged me the most about the whole film is that Tramp doesn't refer to Lady as Pidge.
Yeah.
And that's, like, the first thing he calls her in the original. He's like, hey, Pidge, how's it going? And then he calls her, like, kid or whatever. But, like, I love that he calls her Pidge. I thought that was the cutest.
Same.
I love that nickname. I tried to get Zach to call me that.
Really?
He said no.
I would do Lady and the Tramp Disney bound at, like, Sweethearts Night.
Like, do it like
a brown dress with, like, a choker necklace.
Yeah, I was gonna say do like a, freaking, what's it called? Dapper, like a Dapper Day look.
Yeah, like a Dapper Day.
Yeah, that'd be very cute. And it's so easy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Especially on the guy's run, because it's, like, grays and then, like, a red
tie. Yeah.
Tie at the end.
Yeah. Gray pants, gray shirt, gray jacket, gray shoes, and then a red tie.
And then for the girl, it's brown.
Brown. Yeah. Easy.
Give us your Lady and the Tramp Disney bounce if you've done it before. Like, send it to us.
Yeah, tag us on Instagram or Twitter.
And then in the animated film, Aunt Sarah is still around when the rat attacks. That's probably the next big difference. And she finds Tramp in the nursery and shoos him into a closet with a broom before the Pound comes to get him. Whereas in the new one, the dog catcher visits Jim and Darling with a hunch that Tramp may be on the loose, and the two of them discover near their crying baby.
Yes. Also, in the original, they come to pick up Lady from the Pound versus the other dogs helping her escape.
Yeah.
Also, after that, that's when she, right? Isn't after she escapes is when they get back together and they go to Tony's?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
And then she's like, oh, like, my house is, like, right down there, and then, like, goes back.
Yeah.
Or decides to go back when he's like,
yeah,
but we could just be together and, like, be in the wild and all that stuff.
Okay, when he gave her that speech in the live action one, I was sitting there crying.
Same.
Oh my gosh. I was like, oh, my heart. And then, like, the one I was most looking forward to was the puppies at the end, because they have the puppies at the end in the original, and then they didn't do the freaking puppies. Instead, they did the adoption of Jacqueline's new puppies. Well, that and the puppies that Jacqueline's owner.
Oliver and Dodge.
Yeah. And, like, Tramp joining the family rather than the puppies. And I'm like, where are the puppies?
The one that looks like Tramp in the original one becomes Scamp, and they do, like, the direct DVD.
Scamp's Adventure!
Yeah. I love this movie, and I love the story of Lady and the Tramp, and it's just a classic Disney love story.
It's just so good.
Yeah. I always think about that. Like, I feel like every love-related Disney montage I see always has Tramp, like, scooting the last meatball over to Lady.
Yeah, it has the spaghetti, and then the kiss, and then the meatball. Yeah, absolutely. That's, like, iconic. The Lady and the Tramp is iconic for that.
Yeah.
I love this movie so much.
Same. I love it so much. And I'm glad that they made a new one.
Me too. To update the parts that are not so good. But, like,
except for the fact that Tony is still how he is.
But Tony's, like, I don't know. I don't mind it. I think it's much more accurate.
True.
It's better than, that's the spicy meatball, Tony.
True.
Like, Tony and, oh gosh, what's the other guy's name?
Joe. Yeah. And Joe's all, hey, I don't pay you to stand around. And then he's all, oh, it's our friend! Best in the house for our friend. Yeah.
For the bucha. I love that. That's so cute. They're like, oh, it's our dog. Like he doesn't really have a home, but like all of them, they
treat
love
him
He's
like
their
family.
dog, yeah.
And I like how
your
when we
family.
first see him in the new one, he's like, what am I feeling this morning?
Yeah.
French? No.
Too many carbs.
Too many carbs.
He says that in the original too.
Yeah.
But it's good. I do like it. And then the guy's like, I don't want that dog on my property. And the dog catcher's like, well, if you'd be willing to cooperate with me. And he's all, no.
Yeah. I really like this movie.
Yeah, I thought the new one did very well.
Same.
Definitely a good one.
Yeah. And I remember showing it to my mom, and she, like, is, like, apprehensive about a lot of these live-action remakes, and she really liked this one.
Yeah. I liked it enough that I can look past the fact that I absolutely despise the way that their mouths move.
Yeah, because you don't like that.
No, I hate it. I think it's creepy and weird.
I'm surprised we're getting at this point in the episode, and you're just now mentioning it.
It's because I talked about it earlier when we were on the phone with Austin, and I got most of it out, so.
True.
I can't stand it. I think the mouths, the way they move, it's creepy and weird. I've mentioned it many times. This
before, like when we were talking about the Lion King
Lion
live
King.
action.
Yep.
Was it with the Disorder guys?
Probably. I don't know. But no, it's when we were talking about all of all of the new live action sequels that they did.
Yeah.
But I hate it. I absolutely cannot stand it. I hate the way that they make their mouths move.
Mm-hmm.
Because dogs' mouths don't move like that.
Especially, like, I feel like the best movie to have, or TV show to have done this right was Disney Channel's Dog with a Blog. Because it moved, like, up and down. Like, it was obvious that they were just, like, feeding the dog, like, peanut butter.
Yes. Sometimes they did it really bad, but sometimes it was good, where it was just, like, open, close, open, close.
Yeah.
Like, the lips don't move. You don't move dogs' lips. Animals' lips don't work that way. It just...
Yeah.
It's creepy, and it's weird, and it's, like, totally uncanny valley territory for me. I could not look at their mouths the entire movie. I was like, no.
You know, when you suggested we, like, do the two Lady and the Tramps, I was like, how are you going to handle the live-action mouths?
Clearly not well.
Yeah, but I didn't stop it. So here we are.
I liked it. I thought the movie was very good. I even cried. I was very invested in the movie.
Same.
I just hate the way that they CGI those mouths.
Mm-hmm.
That's my one qualm.
Yeah?
Yep.
Anything else you want to add? I don't have anything else.
I'm good.
Okay.
So, shall we get into some of this fandom news?
Sure. So, Casey Levi will lead the London premiere of Next to Normal at the Donmar Warehouse beginning this summer.
Alyssa Fox will take over Elphaba and Wicked on Broadway beginning in March.
Matt Reeves' sequel to The Batman, now titled The Batman Part 2, officially has a release date. The anticipated follow-up to Robert Pattinson's turn as the Capes Crusader will be out on October 3rd of 2025.
Audra McDonald, Brian Stokes Mitchell, and Kelly O'Hara will star in A Life in the Arts, ragtime one-night-only reunion concert in March.
Yes. An all-new production of Peter Pan will embark on tour in 2024.
Leslie Odom Jr. is coming back to Broadway in Pearly Victorious, a non-Confederate romp through the Cotton Patch, directed by Kenny Leon.
The first part of Chapter 1 of the newly announced DCU projects have been announced. The movies include Superman Legacy, The Brave and the Bold, which will be a film with Damian Wayne as Robin and Bruce Wayne as Batman, obviously. Swamp Thing, The Authority, and Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. And then we have some television shows also announced. Waller, Lanterns, Creature Commandos, Booster Gold, and Paradise Lost.
Gray Henson will lead Sucked on Broadway with the full cast announced later this week.
Annual pass holders at Disney World can now enter parks after 2 p.m. without reservations.
Whoop whoop. Hopefully that'll come back here.
Yeah.
So
I think it did. Isn't it like... Oh, wait, no, that wasn't for annual pass holders to now just enter without a reservation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy that they're starting to phase out reservations.
The de-trapification has begun.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're all pretty stoked. And I know a lot of people were like, oh, but these were in place under Iger. Yeah, but no.
Yeah.
So
shall we see them in the outro?
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Fan Fatales. We are a proud part of the Real Fans Podcast Network.
That's right, and if you want to check out more shows on the network, you can find them at rf4rm.com.
Join us next week where we will be talking about Tim Burton's Wednesday show for my special birthday episode.
Remember to subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts.
And subscribe to us on YouTube.
Please leave us a review and comment down below to tell us what you thought of the show. And remember to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at FanFatalesPod for the latest updates. Now, Emma, where can the people find you on social media?
So my Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter are all at SnippyEmma, which is SNIPPYEMMA. What about you, Gabs?
I'm at Gaby Gent pretty much everywhere, and that's GABYJENT.
Our editing is by the wonderful Carol Lindmeyer.
And as always, thanks for tuning in.
Bye.
The views expressed in this episode do not reflect the brand or companies they're about.